Personal net worth. It's a simple calculation, but it's a number that many people in our society do not know about themselves. So today in this video, I'm going to be going over my personal net worth calculation and giving all the details about everything I included and kind of describe why it's important to me and then what my plan is in the future, next 5 years or so, in order to basically increase this number. So my name is Michael, and this channel is Transparent Living, and really the theme of it is just personal finance, where I take a deep dive into my own personal finances and kind of just am honest with myself and describe my thought process with different financial decisions that I make. And eventually, I think I want to try to start touching on a few other topics that a lot of people kind of shy away from, like mental health, career, stress, and then, along with all the personal finance. What is net worth? How do you calculate it? Basically, it's just your assets minus your liabilities. So assets being money in your bank accounts, money in your retirement accounts, any assets really that you could sell and liquidate in order to get money back for, relatively easily. It includes things like jewelry, maybe, valuable furniture if you have it, cars that you have that are paid off, retirement accounts, cash accounts, savings. And then on the liability side, it's basically going to be any loans that you have, student debt, car loans, mortgage, personal loans, and buy now, pay later loans. I guess those would be also a liability. There's a lot of creative ways that people can get into debt. But basically, I just want to go through line by line of what I have on my personal balance sheet and what my net worth is, and speak a little bit about each subject, each topic, and then talk about the plan that I have in order to work on that number and increase it over time. So the reason that I think knowing your net worth is important is because it's basically like a snapshot of your financial position. So if you go and apply for a loan, they're going to ask you how much money do you have? What's your income? How much debt do you have? Your debt to income ratio. So I feel like net worth, by doing a net worth calculation, you really can get a good picture of where you are financially. And it's an easy way that I'm going to be using to kind of track my financial progress over time. So we're starting today. And to be honest with you, the numbers don't look too good, but they could always be worse. So you got to start somewhere. And this is where I'm at. So we're going into our net worth calc here. All right. So basics. In checking accounts, I have $2,500. Now that includes basically my paycheck goes into my checking account every 2 weeks. I don't keep a ton of money there. I do all of my spending. Me and my wife do all of our spending now on a credit card. And we do our best. We're not overspending, or we're not carrying balances month to month. We're not paying any interest on credit cards, but we really want to try to travel a little bit. And I thought it would be a good idea. I mean, people can disagree with me if they want, but I thought it would be a good idea to open a travel credit card. So now I'm telling my wife, I'm like, babe, you got to put every single expense you do on that card. So 2% at a time, we are going to go on a trip soon. But you also get welcome offers and all of that. Duque. Yeah, you worried about my net worth? I don't think she's worried about it. As long as she has her cat food and her litter is nice and fresh every day, she's cool. But and then another thing we have is a high yield savings account. So we make a concerted effort to contribute to that every couple weeks. My wife contributes to it as well as me. We have it just together. And that is serving basically as our emergency fund. And eventually, once we get up to a certain number, like 3 months or so of expenses, then we'll be able to kind of use that as our travel fund / save for a house fund. Maybe in the future, I'll with my wife, like open up new, like separate savings accounts. One area where I'm very far behind in, as well as my wife, we're pretty behind on our retirement savings. I'm 32, my wife is 30, and we have, as you can see here, we have about $3,400 almost in a 401k. Now, I'm definitely well aware that we need to ramp up that, putting money into that account as soon as we can. I actually just opened a Roth IRA as well, and my wife actually wants to open one up too. She's not a salaried employee, so she doesn't have like a employer sponsored 401k. So I suggested to her that opening a Roth IRA would be a great way to start saving for our retirement. So yeah, I put in $100 initially, and unfortunately, I'm going to be taking a pause on saving for retirement because I want to work on my net worth. And the main way that I'm going to focus on doing that is by paying down my debt. If you didn't see, you could go and watch my previous video, which was my first video. Really proud of it. It took a lot of work and it got about 5 views. So it's out there. Anybody who needs it, I feel like it's pretty good information. But yeah, I'm going to be throwing all of that money that I was thinking about putting towards retirement now towards my student loans, and to hopefully knock those loans out as soon as possible, because I do not want student loan debt to be hanging over my head anymore. Feel like I was in school for an eternity, just not knowing what I was doing. And now that have a clearer path, I'm like, all right, I don't want to be living with this as like a ball and chain, dragging it into the bank every time I'm trying to get a loan, or seeing these 12 separate student loans every time I want to apply for a credit card or things like that, So, but anyways, the one thing that we are going to be doing, back up in the assets section here, every pay period, I contribute, I think, about $150 into my HSA, which I have that invested into an index fund with Fidelity. So yeah, the market's like going up and down these past couple weeks, but I really don't care. I don't need that money right now, but I am just putting it in there and set it up. It's coming out of my check automatically, and then every 2 weeks I have it set up to auto buy that same index fund, and I'm just not going to worry about it. I checked the balance today because I had to do this video, but generally I don't plan on kind of really looking at the value of that on a daily basis. Maybe once a month I'll check it, make sure my auto investments that I set up are going well, and that's about it. But I'm not worried about the value of it going down. As long as I'm buying more shares, I know over time that it's going to go up. So that is the only form of retirement / investing that I'm doing right now. I'm also going to be putting, I think, $400 a month into the high yield savings account, because although I do really want to focus on paying down student loans as quickly as possible, I also want to make sure that me and my wife are, safe, secure, and have an emergency fund just in case anything comes up. So until that gets to a good amount, I don't know, $15,000, I want to keep contributing to that don't want to stop doing that. My wife's also contributing, so that should be good. We got the Roth for 100. I just opened that account. It has $107 now with the gains that it has. But I'm putting that on hold for now. But hey, we'll see how much money a $100 contribution can get me in like 2 years whenever I finish the student loans. So that'll be an interesting thing. And then also other few assets that me and my wife have that I wanted to include in the net worth calculation is I have a 2008 Hyundai Sonata. It's a V6. I love that little car. It's a piece of crap, but honestly, I love that car. It's so nice having a car that I've been working on it. You know, I do a lot of the repairs myself. So it's almost like a little project car. And, you know, I feel like I save a lot of money by having that car. Even though something breaks on it every couple months, I mean, I'm learning a lot about repairing cars and, you know, just becoming a do-it-yourselfer in that sense. And it saved me a lot of money. Like, I just had to replace 3 like sensors in my car. And I took it to a mechanic. And they told me the cost of that was going to be about, I think like 400, something like that. And I was like, okay, all right, camshaft position sensors, crankshaft position sensor. Okay, thanks. I'll think about that. And if the problem still is happening, then I'll bring it back to you guys in a few days. Well, I went online to look at the parts, and it turns out that all 3 of those sensors cost about $60. Including shipping. And they were going to charge me, I think, $450 with parts and labor. So right off the bat, I mean, I saved, $350+ It did take a little effort. Like, it took me maybe 2 hours to replace all of those. And it took me another hour or 2 in research on YouTube, Reddit, whatever, Google, because I have to figure out what they're talking about and then see if I can replace it. But if you're kind of, savvy with tools and can do research on your own, then it's definitely worth it to have an old car. If I were to sell that, though, today, I think I could get about $1,500 for it. So next thing we have is jewelry. And included in this $9,000 is my wife's engagement ring, which makes up the majority of it, and both of our wedding rings. So I'm basing that valuation on the purchase price as well as the appraisal for the engagement ring. So yeah, I mean, it's a considerable asset. I mean, it's basically the largest asset that we have. It's worth a lot more than our car. And the only other asset we have is our PCs, which, there's this one right here. And then my wife also has one. They're about the same value, but mine's a little bit better. No, I'm just kidding. Hers has better CPU. Mine has better GPU. So depends on what you value. But I use mine mainly for just gaming and surfing Reddit. So it doesn't get a whole lot of use. Actually, it does. It does. Gaming's important for me. And she uses it for a much more productive use. She uses hers for work. So she does graphic design. But if we were ever in a pinch, we definitely would be able to sell those. Because they do have significant value. Now, I didn't include any furniture in this. I guess I could include furniture if I wanted to, but I think it's good as it is. So it comes out to a total of about $28,000 worth of total assets. The liabilities. So liabilities are pretty simple. Main thing being those student loans. My wife doesn't have any debt, actually, because yeah, she's just one of those people who was just managed to lived her whole 20s without having debt. How is that possible? No, I'm just kidding. But she learned much earlier than I did, I guess, um, how to live debt free. And yeah, I just want to get on her level, you know? But student loans are the main thing. Those are all mine. And I checked today and they're at $64,400. So that's going to be my main focus over the next couple years, just paying those student loans off, because that is literally the easiest way for me personally to increase my net worth. That's how I feel. And then, but I do have a plan, like a very clear-cut plan to pay those off. I started at $775 a month that I was going to be paying, when the minimum is $273 a month, so about $500 extra. But now that I've kind of cut back on my monthly savings that I'm putting in the high yield savings, and also have decided to pause retirement saving, I'm going to be putting about $1,400 a month towards these student loans. So hopefully very quickly I will be able to see some progress. So the next thing we have on the under liabilities is our car loan. So me and my wife bought this car a few months before we got married. You know, we only had the one car, the 2008 Sonata, and that thing used to be such a huge stressor for me. Really, like it would drive me crazy because every month it was something else was breaking down. That check engine light used to like haunt me in my dreams because I put so much like pressure on having that car. It was the only car we had, and it was breaking down. It was not reliable. So for that reason, it was mainly my decision, like my choice to go for a new car versus going for a used. I think my wife would have been fine with buying a newer used car. But me being a little bit more picky about things and just not trusting like previous owners and just wanting to kind of control things, I thought that it would be better for us to buy a new car. My plan when we bought this, our plan was we're keeping this car for like 10 years. So, and really my wife makes this car payment. So she helps a lot with this. So she makes a $600 a month car payment, which is like an extra $30 per month towards the principal over our minimum payment. I was kind of torn between like directing my focus towards the car loan or the student loans. But really, just to be honest, the student loan balance and the number of loans that I have is just such a thorn in my side. I can't get over it. So my wife is taking care of the car loan, and I'm going to be focusing on my student loans. And I would just feel bad if, she tried to help me with my student loans because, she's not the one who made the decision to take these all out. I do appreciate my older car, the Sonata, that much more because car payment, like I can just see whenever we don't have this car payment, it's going to open up our income so much, and we're just going to be able to do so much more with it. Whether it's like, we're going to be able to do everything. We're going to be able to save more for retirement, invest a little bit, put a lot more in savings for like a house in the future. So, yeah, I am already looking forward to the day that we have that car paid off. So it's only like 5 years. It's fine. It's fine. And then lastly, so we have no lingering revolving credit card debt. So this $1,000 that you see on the Venture X is basically just our monthly spend, and the money in the checking account is going to go towards the Venture X at the end of the month, once we get the statement. And total liabilities, it's a pretty big number, $93,000 of total liabilities. And that gives me a whopping negative 65,000 net worth. You know, the main way that I'm going to be increasing my net worth is by decreasing liabilities. I'm not going to go out and buy a house. I'm not going to go and invest in some crazy crypto or something like that. I'm just going to keep it simple and lower my liabilities. So I have the plan, $1,400 a month going towards student loans, while at the same time saving $400 a month or so and just keeping monthly expenses low. We have a nice, pretty good, rate for rent, monthly rent at our apartment for where we live. And we have that one old car, which is good. So we don't pay crazy car insurance rates for 2 cars at least. And we don't have, my wife nor I are very materialistic. So it's not like we're going every day and buying something new, and we don't buy designer brands, things like that. We're not flashy. So I think although I hate to look at the net worth as negative 65,000, I hate looking at a negative number, but it doesn't feel unmanageable. So over the next 3 years, I think this number is really going to start to change for the good. Paying off those student loans. Then once that's done, we're going to focus on building up our retirement savings, probably putting 20% or so of our income towards retirement. And, after that, after we get that under wraps, then we'll start thinking about saving for a house. So that is a topic for another day, because my plan changes every month. But one thing I know that's very clear is student loans are getting paid off as soon as possible. And then the main reason that it matters to me to do this net worth calculation for me and my wife, as well as improve our net worth, is that paying down debt really just decreases our risk exposure. If one of us was to lose our job, we still have to make these minimum payments. $270 a month for the next 25 years on student loans is just not manageable. And those minimum payments that I have for the student loans are only going to increase because I'm on an extended graduated repayment plan. And I mean, those minimum monthly payments by the end of the loan have potential to get up to like $1,100 per month. Another reason for increasing net worth is just that it's going to increase our buying power over time. So, once we get to that point where we want to, buy a house, we walk into the bank and they're not going to see 12 different loans of $65,000 where the balance has increased over the last 2 years because of interest. So I think going in to make a big purchase, you want to make sure that you have your debt as low as possible. And then also it's just going to give us, as I said earlier, more disposable income to be able to do other things, focus on other parts of our life, like retirement, saving for a house, preparing to have kids, going on that vacation that we all want to go on. So yeah, that's really the main points about this net worth calculation that I wanted to share. And I'll be updating this periodically, maybe once every 6 months or so. I just feel like putting it down on paper or in an Excel spreadsheet and doing a video about it really keeps me motivated. And it really helps me track my progress over time. So yeah, that's about it, guys. Thank you.